Months after getting a raise, something strange happens. You open your bank account and you think, wait, didn't I just start earning more money? Because somehow, nothing changed. You're still stressed about bills, still waiting for payday, still wondering where your money went. And the confusing part? You didn't become irresponsible. You didn't suddenly start spending recklessly. So, what actually happened? What if I told you there are silent financial traps built into everyday life? Traps that slowly expand your spending the moment your income grows. And most people don't even notice them happening. Today, we're breaking down exactly those traps. Not to scare you, but to show you exactly where your money quietly disappears and how to stop it.
Imagine this. You get a raise and you promise yourself, this time, I'll save more. But a few weeks later, your apartment feels a little too small. You upgrade your phone plan. You eat out just a little more. You justify small rewards because you earned it, right? Nothing dramatic changes. Your lifestyle just slowly adjusts upward. This is what psychology calls hedonic adaptation. Your brain quickly normalizes new income levels. So instead of feeling richer, you just feel normal again. And that's the trap. Because every time your income rises, your spending rises to meet it. So the gap between earning money and keeping money never actually grows. And that gap, that's where wealth is built. Not income, not status, the gap. Now, picture walking into a car dealership. Your current car works fine, but someone in a suit smiles and tells you, you can actually get a better car and lower your monthly payments. Sounds like a win, right? It isn't. Here's what actually happens. The loan resets, the term gets longer, and you are always in debt to a car you don't fully own. You're not upgrading, you're restarting a financial treadmill every few years. Research in behavioral economics shows something interesting. People strongly prefer lower monthly payments, even when it costs them significantly more long-term. Why? Because the brain focuses on short-term relief, not long-term cost. So you feel better today, but you pay for it, quietly, over years. Credit cards are where things get even more subtle. You see a balance of $3,000, but the minimum payment is only $60, and your brain says, that's manageable, and you move on. But here's what's actually happening. Most of that $60 payment goes to interest, not the debt. So your balance barely moves. And the credit system is designed this way on purpose, because when payments feel easy and people don't stop using the card, this creates a loop. Small payment feels safe. Debt feels under control. Spending continues. Interest quietly compounds. What feels like progress is actually stagnation, or worse, decline. Now imagine getting approved for a mortgage. The bank says, you can afford $400,000. And here's the mistake most people make. They interpret approval as permission, so they buy the maximum. And suddenly, the mortgage consumes most of their income. Bills stack up, repairs appear out of nowhere, and flexibility, gone. This is called lifestyle anchoring. Your entire financial life becomes anchored to one decision. And studies in behavioral finance confirm something important. People rarely regret buying less house, but they almost always regret buying too much. Because fixed costs remove freedom, and without freedom, you don't have options. This one is harder to notice because nothing feels expensive. $5 delivery fee, $12 streaming subscription, $10 app upgrade, $15 impulse convenience buy. Individually, they feel harmless, but psychology shows something important. Humans underestimate repeated small costs by up to 40%. So what happens? You stop noticing them entirely. But they quietly stack up into thousands per year. Not because you're careless, but because convenience removes friction. And friction used to protect your money. You open social media. Someone bought a new car. Someone went on vacation. Someone is winning. And suddenly, your life feels behind. So you spend. Not for yourself, but for how your life looks. Here's the truth nobody says out loud. Most people you're comparing yourself to, are also in debt. Modern wealth is often invisible, but modern spending is very visible. So everyone appears ahead while quietly struggling underneath. And behavioral studies confirm this. Social comparison is one of the strongest drivers of unnecessary spending. Not need, not logic, comparison. Most people don't plan for emergencies, not because they're careless, but because nothing bad has happened yet. So the brain assumes, it probably won't happen to me until it does. Car breaks down, medical bill appears, job situation shifts, unexpected expense hits, and there's no buffer. So the credit card becomes the emergency fund, and now the problem becomes permanent debt. Financial experts consistently recommend 3 to 6 months of savings, but most households have almost nothing. Not because they can't save, but because every dollar is already assigned. This one is psychological. You feel stressed. So you buy something, and it works for a moment. Dopamine increases. Stress drops temporarily. But then reality returns. And now you have the same problem. Plus less money, plus guilt. So the brain repeats the pattern. Because it learned a dangerous lesson, spending equals relief. This creates a loop. Stress, spending, temporary relief. More stress, more spending. Over time, money stops being a resource. It becomes emotional regulation. Most people say something that sounds completely reasonable. I'll start saving for retirement later. But retirement isn't just about money. It's about time. Because of compounding, money invested early grows exponentially longer, which means a small amount invested early beats a large amount invested late, not slightly, massively. But here's the psychological problem. When you're young, retirement feels far away. So the brain always prioritizes today over decades later. And that delay becomes permanent, not because people don't care, but because future consequences don't feel real, until they do. When money gets tight, most people do something completely logical. They try to earn more. But here's the issue. Extra income often doesn't fix overspending. It covers it, so the behavior never changes. Instead of spending less, building control, creating structure, people just work more, burn out, and maintain the exact same lifestyle. So the real problem stays hidden, because income increased, but behavior didn't change.
So when people say, I make more money, but I still feel stuck, it's usually not income. It's leakage. Small decisions, repeated over time, until money stops feeling like something you earn and starts feeling like something that just disappears. But once you see these traps clearly, you can't unsee them. And that's where real financial change begins. Not with a budget app, not with a side hustle, with awareness. If this helped you see your money differently, there's a lot more where this came from. Subscribe.